audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar on RoDTEP, which was announced on 31st of December through a press release to be made effective from 1st of January 2021. The legal framework for the scheme is yet to be announced, and we hope that within few days, Dgft as well as Ministry of Finance would be issuing the corresponding customs notification to give it a legal framework also. A lot of policy issues and operational issues have been brought to our notice by our officers who are working in chapter and regional offices who are constantly in touch with all of you. We have flagged those issues. The policy issues has been raised by our president to the finance minister, commerce and industry minister, Niti Aayog, and even the prime minister office. Operational issues has been brought to the notice of the chairman CBIC, and we are hopeful that these issues will get resolved soon. It is a little ironical that a duty reimbursement scheme is announced without a rate. And this has definitely put all of us in a very precarious situation. We have been caught off guarded. We are hopeful that government notifies the rates soon so that all of you can factor these rates while negotiating new orders or finalizing new orders. And that will be a good way for providing much needed competitiveness to exports. For me, the biggest worry is the budget for the scheme, because coverage as well as rate depends on the budget. I personally feel that duty reimbursement scheme like RoDTEP should not be limited by any budget. It's a fact that government admits that these taxes and duties were hitherto not being refunded, and now same is being refunded back. If it is a refund, why we should require budget for that? Do we have a budget for duty drawback? The answer is no. And that's why I feel that we all need to work together so as to spread this message, because once the scheme is limited by budget, whatever be the budget in the current situation, I don't expect much budget to flow for the scheme. And that will put us in a very difficult situation to address the concern which has been raised. Even we'll be struggling to get little concession from the government. So all the chambers, export promotion councils, I'm very happy that many of the chairmen of the councils have already taken up the matter on the lines which FIO has proposed, and we need to work together for that. For having a structured discussion, we will be making a PowerPoint presentation covering the background, rationale, the operation of the scheme, as well as the suggestion. I will request all of you to please bear with me for 25 to 30 minutes. Thereafter, we will open the floor to take your feedback, suggestions, issues, and we will be interacting with you. So may I request all of you to kindly bear with me for next 20-25 minutes so that I have a structured presentation, and thereafter we can discuss all the issues which are cropping in your mind. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is the screen clear?
Sir, screen is not yet shared.
The screen is not yet shared. Okay, let me just share. Just a minute.
Yeah, it is now shared, sir. You will have to go for presentation view now.
Okay, just a minute. Is it fine now?
Yes, sir, it is fine.
All right, I will go script by script. The whole idea is to give you the little background of the scheme, what scheme entails, because lot of issues can be understood better by you and you can find your own answer if you have the little background of the scheme. We all know that so far as import exports are concerned and the domestic production, all are subject to some kind of duties. So far as the customs duties are concerned, we at present have the basic customs duty, which is the duty which basically protect the domestic industry. We have additional customs duty, which is only on very few items on which there is still central excise duty, primarily the petroleum product. we have 10% social welfare surcharge, which is 10% of the basic custom duty, not flat 10%. And in exceptional situation, we have the anti-dumping duty, safeguard duty, and countervailing duty. Beside, we have an IGST on imported input, which is levied on the reverse charge mechanism. So far as the customs duties other than IGST is concerned, we have refund mechanism in place, which is either through the all industry duty drawback route, or you have the brand rate of drawback, you have the EOU scheme, you have the SCZ scheme, you have the advanced authorization scheme, you have DFIA, etc. So other than the IGST, rest of the refund of the customs duty is mandated through these schemes. Some of the scheme like all industry drawback and DFIA, they only refund you the basic customs duty and protective duty, that is social welfare charge and additional customs duty, while brand rate of drawback, EOU, SCZ, and advanced authorization, they provide you exemption from all these kinds of duties. We also know that from 1st of July 2017, we have moved to a GST regime, which has in fact merged a lot of central and state taxes. So far as central taxes are concerned, we have seen the merging of the central excise duty, except for the petroleum product, service tax, additional customs duty, which was levied on some of the product, special additional duty, which was levied at 4%, and we have central surcharges and cess. They all have now been merged under the GST. Similarly, the state taxes like VAT, central sales tax, which was on interstate supply, octroi, which is levied by the local or municipal corporation, entry tax by the state, purchase tax in some of the state, luxury tax on some of the luxury goods and services, taxes on lottery, entertainment tax, all these have been merged into the GST. So once we have the refund mechanism for CGST, SGST, and IGST, either through the IGST refund or ITC refund mechanism, both the customs duties as well as the GST, they stand remitted back to the exporter in different form. Customs duty through various mechanism of drawback, all industry, brand rate, advance authorization, DFIA, EOE, SCZ scheme, and refund of GST either through IGST refund mechanism, which operates through customs, or ITC refund mechanism, which operates now online, where the refund flows from either the central tax authorities or the state tax authorities to you.
Sir,
But, yeah.
Sir, the PPT mode is not on. The PPT has to be made in a presentation mode.
Just a minute. Are you seeing the PPT or you're not seeing CPT?
PPT is there, but we are seeing the editable mode, not the presentation mode.
Okay, just a minute. Is it now?
No, sir.
So do one thing, Dhananjay, you share from your end.
I will do that, sir.
Okay. Okay, you share from your end. When I say that, you change the screen. Okay. Anyway, so what is not covered under the GST? We know that alcoholic beverages for human consumption is not covered, though of course alcohol for industrial use, that is under the GST. There are certain petroleum products which have not been brought under the GST. There are certain goods and services which are neither goods nor services, like sale of land, building, though of course construction is under the GST. Employee-employer related services, court services, services by legislature, funeral services, they have not been brought under GST. There are certain goods and services which are exempted from GST because government thought that the value of these goods and services should remain low, and therefore government has provided them the exemption from the GST. Next slide. So the RoDTEP principle is that RoDTEP works on the principle that whatever is not refunded under the current mechanism, that will be refunded through RoDTEP. So all the customs duty, they are being refunded to you. Whatever is under the GST, that is refunded to you. So only the duties, taxes at the central, state or local levies which are borne on the export product, if you have any such taxes, that is refunded through the RoDTEP mechanism. Similarly, prior stage cumulative indirect taxes, the embedded taxes, they are also being refunded through the RoDTEP scheme. And the direct taxes on the distribution of the product, which is fuel on the transportation also, is being refunded through the RoDTEP scheme. So in short, the RoDTEP is now refunding what is not being refunded so far under the existing export rebate mechanism instruments, as well as what is not refunded under the IGST or ITC refund. Next slide. Now, when we are talking about the prior stage cumulative taxes, what does it mean? And what is meant by the embedded taxes? Embedded taxes are those taxes which are added to the value of the product because there is no mechanism to adjust those products. For example, if you are taking a GST on the input where the final product is exempted, then the input tax credit is added to the value of the final product. For example, assuming that cotton yarn, I'm just taking an example, is exempted from GST. Now, if you have taken a cotton and assuming on cotton, the ITC was 5%, you have paid 5%, but since on the cotton yarn, there is no GST, you can't take back the 5%. So 5% is added to the value of the product. So it becomes an embedded taxes. Similarly, if the end product is not under the GST, for example, let us say you are a petroleum company, you have taken some goods and services on which you have paid the GST. But since petroleum product is outside the GST, you have to absorb that taxes because on the final product, no rebate is available to you. Similarly, if you are taking the goods from the unregistered supplier, the unregistered supplier is not charging the GST, but on his supply, there is an input tax credit, which is added to the supply value. That becomes an embedded tax in the supply. Similarly, the central excise duty on VAT on the petroleum product that is there. And other cess also, for example, let us say on the coal, you have the compensation cess. So if you're using coal in the manufacturing, then on the coal, you are paying compensation set, but since your end product may not be under the compensation set, you are not allowed to have the refund of that. With the result, the end product price goes up. So all these embedded taxes, they are now allowed to be refunded under the new scheme of the RoDTEP. Next. Now, if you look into the RoDTEP, if I go step by step, the same thing is covered here. And this is all what is prevalently allowed under the RoDTEP scheme. This provides you the refund of VAT on the fuel used in generation of captive power, VAT on fuel in the farm sector, mandi tax, electricity duty tax, stamp duty on export document, which you sometimes pay, then embedded CGST and SGST on pesticide, fertilizer and agriculture production, CGST, SGST from purchase from unregistered dealer, CGST, SGST on the coal used in the production of electricity, then CGST, SGST on inputs for the transport sector, central excise duty on fuel, and then any other taxes duty which are not refunded through the current mechanism of advance authorization drawback or GST, that is also covered. For example, if you are paying royalty, then royalty also can be considered as an embedded duty, and that can also be allowed to be refunded back to you. There's no much clarity about the royalty here, but when we have the discussion with the GK Pillai committee, the committee said that that can also be considered, and industry may accordingly provide the data. The short point which I'm making is that when you are looking into the RoDTEP scheme, please bear in mind that whatever is being refunded to you or exempted to you through any other mechanism, the same will not be covered here. And therefore, these taxes and duties are only taken into account while working on the RoDTEP rate. Next. Now, let us come back to the RoDTEP scheme. We all know that the scheme has been made operational from 1st of January through a press release, and then subsequently advisory number 1 was issued by Ministry of Finance. The problem, as I already highlighted, that the rates are still not announced, and we are expecting notification both from the Dgft and Ministry of Finance for notifying the scheme. So far as coverage of product is covered, it is very difficult to say which product will cover here. We are not also aware of the rate, and that's also a very difficult situation for the industry. We are urging the government to notify the rate as early as possible, and more importantly, come with the list of the ineligible products or categories, so that you at least know that these products or categories will not be eligible for that. The good thing is that for RoDTEP scheme, there is no separate code or serial number. You are just required to give the ITC HS code of the products and give the declaration for the RoDTEP. You will be eligible for the RoDTEP benefit. It is not like drawback that you are supposed to give a serial number of that. So far as ineligible categories are concerned, at this point of time, exports by EOU, advance authorization, jobbing, etc. And that word etc. is very dangerous. What is meaning by etc. can be subjected to many interpretation. And we feel that certain ineligible categories which are mentioned in para 3.06 of the foreign trade policy may be brought under the ineligible goods for the RoDTEP also. We are not sure for that, because that will be clear only when they announce the ineligible categories, but the chances are that exports which are restricted or prohibited, export under the minimum export price, export under the export tariff, certain other categories, export from free trade and warehousing zone, they may also come under the ineligible categories. And that's why we are pressing that government should at least bring the ineligible categories early, so that excluded categories are known to the trade and industry. Next one. So far as the RoDTEP scheme is concerned, I think the industry should remember that two information is extremely important. One is that you give the info code RoDTEP. Why? RoDTEP very clearly, because unless this info code is given, you will not be entitled for the RoDTEP scheme. Secondly, you have to give the statement code RD001, because this code means that you have given the 3 declarations which are required in the Annexure B while claiming the RoDTEP benefit. And please bear in mind that no change is possible once the EGM is filed. So if any error is detected by you after the LEO before the EGM is filed, please get the error corrected. Let me say that there is no point in getting the error corrected manually. It has to be done in the system. Then only the benefit will flow to you. So whenever you are claiming the RoDTEP benefit, please give the info code very clearly and give the statement code also. Next one. The mechanism for the RoDTEP scheme will work in the way that once the customs has allowed the shipment, shipping bill will be sent for the RMS after EGM is filed. And if it is cleared, then it will be queued for the scroll. And if RMS finds some problem with that, it will send back to the officer for further details. And once the officer clear it, it will be queued for the scroll. They will be generating a scroll, and the respective amount will go into the credit ledger of the exporter. One thing is very important, that every exporter, if they have not registered with the IceGate with the digital signature, they should do it as early as possible, and they should also create a RoDTEP credit ledger account. So my request to those who have not opened their registration with IceGate, they should register them with the IceGate with the digital signature, and they should also open thereafter a credit ledger accounts. Once the RoDTEP rates are notified, the system will automatically calculate the rate for all the items on which RoDTEP is claimed, and it will be appearing in your credit ledger. We know that at this moment of time, in many of the shipment, the rates have not been calculated properly because there is no rate. Even we were given to understand that ad hoc rate of 0.5% has been built into the system for flow of the information, but that is not correct. But you should not be unduly worried about that. Whenever the rate is notified, the shipping bill details along with your entitlement will automatically figure in your credit ledger. At this point of time, they have done some kind of intervention where based on certain rate, these data is flowing to the customs. So even if the rate is not correct, please do not bother much about that. We are taking care of that. We have already flagged the issue to the board. Next one. Now, creation of a credit ledger is extremely important. I will urge all of you to please visit the IceGate website. Go through the main page. On the main page itself, when you scroll down, there is a bouquet of services which are there. In the bouquet of services, you are supposed to choose the RoDTEP. There is a specific box of the RoDTEP which needs to be chosen by you. Then you will be directed to go to the login page. You go to the login page, put your username and ID there. And once the credentials are verified, you can go to the main page where on the left side, you will see the credit ledger. You need to click the credit ledger. Once you click the credit ledger, in the drop down menu, you will require to click on the RoDTEP, and then you have to click create account. The moment you do it, your RoDTEP credit ledger account will be created. At this point of time, I will request the industry to create their credit ledger account. So those who have their registration with IceGate with the digital signature, they should create their ledger account. Those who have not registered themselves, they should first register with the digital signature, and thereafter they should create the ledger account. As I told you, once the rates are notified, guidelines are issued, you will be able to see the entire details of these shipping bill, which will help you to generate the script online. Next. Now, as I told you, the entire module of the script which is being generated for the RoDTEP is a completely an electronic environment. So once you create a credit ledger, you will now be having a grid view of various information which will be available to you. You can see the scroll detail, you can see the script details, you can see the transaction detail, you can see the transfer script, and you can see the approved transfer script. What does these details mean? Next slide. In the scroll details, once you scroll details, you click the scroll detail tab, you can select the scheme as RoDTEP, and you can select the location, that the port from where you have made the shipment. So if you are registered with that, and assuming the schemes operate, you are required to go to the scroll detail, tap the scroll detail, click on the RoDTEP. Then you have to give the details of the port or its code. Once you do that, you put the RoDTEP details, you put the scheme details, then the detail of the shipping bill number, date, scroll number, date, and sanction amount will appear. So assuming you are exporting from JNPT, and in JNPT you have exported 10 shipment under the RoDTEP, when you put the location code of JNPT, the details of 10 shipping bills will appear there. You can select those shipping bills and you can generate your own script. Once you generate the script, a message will appear on the screen that script number so-and-so has been generated successfully, so that you know that you have generated the script. Next. You also have the possibility of having the views detail. In the view detail, you can click on active, so that all scripts which are in active state, that will be appear to you. Once you click utilize, all scripts which have been utilized by you will be appear. Once you click transfer, all scripts which have been transferred by you will appear there. When you just click on transfer pending, all scripts which may have been transferred by you but may not have been accepted by the transferee, that will appear there. When you click on expired, all script which has expired will appear. If you click on transfer rejected, all script which may have been transferred but rejected by the transferee will appear there. And you click on all scripts will appear there. So different view window is available to you under the module. Next one. You can also go through the transaction details. Once you click on the transaction detail, again, you have the option to look into the issued script, which will give you the details of all scripts generated. Then you can look into the utilized script, you can look into the transfer script, you can look into the transfer pending script, and you can look into the all script. So various options are available to look into the details of the various script which has been generated by you, utilized by you, or which may be pending for transfer. Every details is available to you. Next one. Now let us look into how the script will be transferred. In the script transfer, two mechanisms. One is you require action by the transferer, and then you require action by the transferee. Please bear in mind, even the transferee required to have a valid credit ledger. So if you are transferring the script to a broker, the broker should also have a valid credit ledger account. That means he should be registered with IceGate. He should have a DSC. So that is something which we have to keep in mind. For transfer of the script, you have to select the tab, transfer script tab. Once you select that, all scripts will appear there. If you want to transfer a particular script, you can click this and select the particular script. After choosing the particular script, you can view the amount of the script also. And thereafter, you have to put the IEC number of the transferee, because in the enter transfer, the IEC number is required. Once you put the IEC number of the transferee, that means to person whom you want to transfer, you will be required to generate OTP. And the OTP will come both on your mobile number and on the email ID registered with the IceGate. The OTP is valid for 15 minutes. And within 15 minutes, you have to put the OTP and confirm the OTP. Next slide. Once you successfully transfer the script, then you still have the option that if you want to cancel the return, you can cancel it. Now, once you transfer the script, the transferee is required to do some action. And the transferee also needs to log in. He has to log in into his credit ledger. And then in the credit ledger, he has to go into the approved script tab. He will be able to see all the script which has been transferred to him. Once he selects a script which he wants to accept it, he has again to approve the script. Once he does that, OTP will generated. OTP will come on his mobile number and on his email ID. Again, the OTP is valid for 15 minutes. And once the script is transferred from transferee to transferee, again, a message will come that script number so-and-so has been transferred successfully. So we are looking into the completely electronic environment for transfer the script. And let us not be unduly worried on that. The system has been put into test, and I'm pretty sure this is something which is not very innovative. Many agencies have adopted similar kind of instrument for the transfer. Next one. Now, let me just flag some of the important issues which have been flagged by us and where we request all of you to please look into that. The most important is that the budget for the scheme, because we should make a plea that being a refund scheme, there should not be any budget. And for any reason, if the budget is allocated, the budget should be large enough to provide refund to every exporter, because in any case, it's a refund scheme. Secondly, we have also flagged that rates of the RoDTEP may be announced immediately so that exporter can factor it. We have requested that by 31st of January 2021, all rates may be notified. We have preferred the notification of the rate at 4 digits so that the exercise is not voluminous. At 4 digits, you are required to give rate to around 4,000 to 5,000 product. At 8 digits, it ranges between 11 to 12,000 product. And then you have little flexibility in the fixation, though of course, when you are claiming it, you are giving the product at 8-digit level. We have also referred that the benefit of RoDTEP should go to the advanced authorization holder, DFIA, ARO, EOU, SCZ, as they have also suffered some amount of embedded taxes, and they also incur taxes on both inward and outward transportation. Because even if you are an SCZ, if you are bringing the raw material from port to the SCZ, on the transportation charges, you also have some element of taxes in that. And that's why that needs to be refunded to that. We have also referred that a lot of exporters have not been able to give the declaration of the RoDTEP because their shipping bill was filed prior to 1st of January and LEO was given on or after 1st of January. So in all these cases, the benefit of RoDTEP should be given even without the declaration of the RoDTEP there. And we hope that transitional arrangement will cover that, because it's a problem of, I think, 8 to 10 days time, and there will not be many shipment of that nature. Next one. We have also requested that e-commerce should also be given the benefit of the RoDTEP scheme. Principally, there is no problem to that, but the e-commerce shipping bill, which is in the form of CSB 5 and TB 2 for the postal exports, they also needs little modification, and we have referred the matter to Chairman CBIC for bringing these notification. We are also of the view that the declaration of the RoDTEP may be dispensed with, because what we have seen that any declaration basically deprive many of the entitled categories to claim the benefit, and the worst sufferer are micro and small exporter. We have seen this declaration has caused problem even in the erstwhile scheme of the MEIS, and now there is no transmission of the shipping bill. In MEIS, at least the revenue was of the view that I have to transfer the shipping bill, and unless I know that it is for the MEIS, how I transfer that. But now entire work will be done by the customs only, and therefore they should dispense with this declaration. If the product is eligible, product code is there, then they should get the RoDTEP benefit. We have also said that there is no need for having a second RMS. RMS is done on the shipment before the LEO date. And once the goods have gone, EGM has been filed. There is no real purpose for the RMS. It will simply delay the process. We have also said, as I told you, that the ad hoc entitlement is not being correctly mentioned in many of the shipping bill, but we have been given to understand when the rates are notified, they will be taking care of that. There was some confusion with regard to the RoDTEP, with the regard to the claiming of RoDTEP along with the EPCG. Earlier software was not providing that, but we have been given to understand that from yesterday, they have corrected the software. Now shipment under EPCG can effect under the RoDTEP scheme. So this is all from my side, and I think we open the floor for all of you to give your views, suggestions, feedback.